WWE, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, PLEs. Hmm. I think I should rename all their entities. WWE Raw is WWE Uncooked. Yeah. WWE SmackDown is WWE Slapdown. WWE NXT next, WWE Skip. I know it's kind of corny. So what? Stupid. But there's a thing I'm getting to here, right? We're on the eve of the 10-year anniversary of AJ Styles coming to WWE at the Royal Rumble. He debuted at the Royal Rumble in 2016, and he is scheduled to put his career on the line against Gunther this year at the Royal Rumble. Gunther, who is now the retirement man, when you see him, it's almost remember back in the days, and people probably don't even realize this. And I'm gonna go on a little tangent right now. Remember back in the days in the 90s? Oh, I know, 30 years ago. Ooh. The Undertaker, when he was the dead man, not the talking dead man, not the reincarnation of Satan, not the American badass, when he was the original dead man, right? When he was literally a zombie. Do people realize, or people remember that when somebody was about to exit the WWE, when somebody was about to leave the company, they lost to the Undertaker? People don't. People didn't realize it then, and I'm quite sure people don't even think about it now. Look at all the victims he had. Ultimate Warrior after his first run. Eventually, after that SummerSlam match, left the WWE. Jake the Snake at WrestleMania 8. Yes, that was his last match for what? 4 years under the WWE banner? He lost too. The Undertaker. Kamala, when he finished up, wrapped up in the WWF. Guess who put him in the casket? The Undertaker. When Yokozuna had to take time off to go to the Fat Farm back in 94. Guess who he lost to? The Undertaker. When Kevin Nash, aka Diesel, when he was about to leave to go to WCW, guess who he lost to at WrestleMania? Yes, I know he had a feud with HBK, but that's because he part of the clique. Like they wasn't gonna let him go out like that. But his last WrestleMania match was against The Undertaker. I say all that to say Gunther right now is playing the role of The Undertaker. And I'm not talking about vis-a-vis. I'm not talking about exactly, but I'm saying he put to rest Goldberg. Goldberg's retirement match was against Gunther. John Cena's retirement match was against Gunther. AJ Styles has been well known that AJ Styles in 2026 was going to be his last year. He was retiring. He wanted to retire on top. He wanted to retire while he wasn't embarrassing himself. He wanted to retire with gas left in the tank. He wanted to park the car instead of burning the car, so to speak. So when AJ Styles immediately took up the mantle because Gunther was rubbing it into the fans that he made, in his words, John Cena tap like a little bee. Everybody kind of saw the writing on the wall. Now, the one thing I will say is the intrigue is we're still in January of 2026. will AJ Styles actually hang it up so early, or where he have a elongated retirement tour? No, 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 no. The retirement tour only became a thing because John Cena, and I'll give a credit where credit's due, did earn the fact to call his shot a year in advance. Like, listen, next year is my last year. I got X amount of dates. I'm going to do a full-time run for his standards for a year. Everybody's not getting that. AJ Styles is not getting the full, counting down the dates, because he's been a full-timer for 10 years. What he is getting, though, is this last push, this last spotlight. And you can't tell me that him having a banger of a match against Shinsuke Nakamura on Saturday Night Main Event a week before his supposed retirement match was just a coincidence. You can't tell me that AJ Styles going for the championship against the World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk 6 days before his retirement match with Gunther was pure coincidence. Mind you, this is the first time that CM Punk and AJ Styles faced each other in a WWE ring. Which brings me to the title of the segment, WWE Uncooked. Did AJ Styles just spring it upon them that, January is going to be my last month? Royal Rumble is just going to be my last month. I'm just going to bookend it like that. Did he bring it up to them less than a month notice? I'm quite sure he gave them notice. I'm quite sure. So you mean to tell me that now that AJ Styles has a foot and a half out the door, it took them to have him have a foot and a half out the door to actually give him some matches that are intriguing? He's been running in cement for how long? I mean, him having that tag team run with Dragon Lee for what, a couple months, if that? Could there have been could that time been better served? Now, yeah, I know you have the fact that he relieved Finn Balor and JD McDonough from those tag straps, which, of course, Bullet Club. I get that. And he did have a chance to showcase on Saturday Night Main Event against Javon Evans and Leon Slater, which is great. But that probably wasn't in the plans prior. So I ask again, CM Punk versus AJ Styles, a one-night build. Matter of fact, a 2-hour build, video package and all. To me, that's proof that WWE can do it when they want to do it. They know how to do it. They just choose not to do it because they don't have to do it. And we sit here and take it week after week, month after month. And at this point in time, year after year. Because they already got their bread. There's been a decrease in ratings. Their decline in ratings. But guess what? They already got their bread from USA for the next 5 years. Or at this point in time, 4 years. Okay. They already got their $1 billion out of Netflix for at least the next 4 years before Netflix is able to opt out. The viewership is declining, but it doesn't matter It doesn't matter at all. Nothing matters. I'm watching Raw last night, and they opened it up with a 6-woman tag based on the events of Saturday Night Main Event. They had Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Stephanie Vaquer, the World Tag Team Champions. Well, matter of fact, the Women's Tag Team Champions in the world and the Women's World Champion, going against Judgment Day of Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, and Liv Morgan. Okay. The Faces won. What did it prove? What did it gain? What was there to gain? Was it going to set up another tag team title match? Whoopee. It did set up a world championship match, a women's world championship match for next week in the city of brotherly love for Stephanie Vaquer and Raquel Rodriguez. But does it matter? On this show, they did it on Friday, and they repeated it again tonight. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the original tribal chief, the OTC, is returning at the Royal Rumble. The OTC is back. Not the over-the-counter, not the OTC card that, I guess seniors get. No, the original tribal chief is back. Again, how many times has he been back? He's come back like 5 times in the last 10 months. And it's the same thing. What does Roman Reigns actually mean nowadays? Return. Like, peep this. Dude couldn't even be bothered to send a video in announcing his return, or to actually announce it himself. And I don't put that on Roman Reigns. No, not at all, because he deserved to call his shots, or pretty much like, look, I'm not getting on a plane just to say, yo, I'm back. But you mean to tell me they couldn't have just made that a quote unquote surprise? Like, everybody knew that Roman Reigns was going to be at the Rumble. Did you need to announce it? I would rather him be a quote unquote surprise entrant. Yeah, I know. Nobody's gonna figure it's a surprise because the logistics of getting in and out of Saudi Arabia, everybody's gonna know who's gonna be there. So what? That's the problem nowadays. People know too much. People know too much. Fans know too much. There's too much information out there. I'm guilty because I read the dirt sheets at times. I listen to the podcast at times. A lot of times I've used it to fall asleep on, but you get the gist. I'm guilty as everybody else. Everybody want to be smart. Everybody's smart. The whole point of wrestling is to be conned. But them announcing it, everything was just so lazy. Right? You put a graphic up there. You have his music in the background. Roman Reigns returns at Royal Rumble, Saudi Arabia. Royal Rumble retire. The Tribal Chief is back. The OTC is back. Now, what do you gain out of announcing him? I'll wait. What do you gain by announcing him? Buy rates? No, because you already got this deal with ESPN, right? Do you know this is the first Royal Rumble that I'm actively not going to watch on purpose? And I know you're probably like, huh? No, it's not even part of protesting. No, it's not. It's just like I have yet to watch any PLE since they made the move to the ESPN app. Just just out of principle, like I got a whole bunch of apps. I got a lot of apps. And tell you the truth, the ESPN app is probably the one app I don't have. I just don't feel like spending $29 on or $30 on an app that I would use once a month. I don't really F with ESPN like that. There's nothing on ESPN that I need to watch that's going to force me to spend $30 a month. I cut the cord. I don't have cable. I have nothing but apps. And if I want the gist of what's going on ESPN, guess what? I'll just go on YouTube to ESPN itself. But he's there. So buy rates, you're not going to increase the buy rates. Last minute tickets, they're not selling tickets in Saudi Arabia. They're telling their people, fill this shit up. Yeah. You stand here, you sit here, you sit here, you sit here, you sit here. Yeah. And let the drones go around. Now, and this is not even a quasi prediction, but I guess he's winning. Because if he isn't, where does he go? I mean, he's lost to Bronson Reed, which on the surface wouldn't be that bad if they would have followed up on it. Roman Reigns lost to Bronson Reed back at Crown Jewel. And where's Bronson Reed right now? He is number 3 out of 4 in a faction called Division. And that's not counting Paul Heyman. So he's 4 out of 5. Because you got Paul Heyman, who's the leader. You got Braun Breaker. You got Logan Paul. Then you got Bronson Reed. And then bringing up the rear is Austin Theory. The pressure. What the is the pressure? So you gave Bronson Reed the biggest win of his career against one of the greatest champions in the modern history. Matter of fact, the history of WWE/WWF. The man who, I wouldn't say single-handedly, but had a big part to play in where WWE is right now for the last 4 years. And you allowed Bronson Reed to go and mean nothing. It's the same thing. It's the same gripe I have with what they're doing with Gunther. You gave him the head of John Cena to put on his mantle. I retired this dude. Not only that, I made Mr. Never Give Up give up. And what have you done in the last month and a half? Besides have him out there every week getting cheap heat, talk about, yeah, I made John Cena tap like a bitch. Okay. And now he's going to follow that up with ending the career of AJ Styles. Great. Then what? Then what? Drew McIntyre finally achieved what he's been wanting to achieve for the last 5 years, and that's to win the heavyweight championship in front of fans. He beat Cody Rhodes. A lot of people would say, yeah, he had to, right? Which he did. A lot of people didn't think he was going to win. And from the reports, only a couple of days prior to SmackDown, what the decision made for Drew to actually win. They were going to have Drew lose again. But him and Cody pushed. That's the narrative. They pushed for Drew to win. Okay. Now Cody is feuding with Jacob Fatu, who returned. Okay. Great. What does Drew do now? He's facing Sami Zayn at the Rumble in Saudi Arabia. People believe it's 50-50 whether or not Sami Zayn is going to win. I'm amongst those people. 50% of me want Sami Zayn to win because that would be a great story. But no, that would be a great moment. Not a great story, a great moment. Forgive me. The story would be if they wouldn't have if they wanted to really make this a thing. Because one thing, best believe, and I don't care what anybody says, Vince would have made all this weave together. Sami Zayn was on Raw, and he kept getting his ass whooped by Drew McIntyre. He could not beat Drew McIntyre. Then he made a statement and said his mission was to become World Heavyweight Champion, right? Then he magically appeared on SmackDown. And then he kind of treaded water for a while until he won the U.S. Championship off of Solo Sikoa. And then he had the U.S. Championship challenge. And then once he lost to Ilya Dragunov, he disappeared for a while. And then he came back to nothing. And then, oh, shoot, Royal Rumble's coming on. Saudi Arabia. We need to get him hot right now. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Now, the story would be not only is he winning it in Saudi Arabia, but also he's finally overcoming Drew McIntyre for the first time ever. And it's that much sweeter because he is beating him for the championship. But the way they have done Sami Zayn for the last 8 months, there's no build to that, or everything has been microwaved. So to me, if Sami Zayn wins, yeah, it'd be a great moment. But would it be a good story? And where do you go from there? Sami Zayn wins, and then he drops it right back to Drew McIntyre. Sami Zayn wins and goes into WrestleMania. Sami Zayn begins, or this, Sami Zayn begins his quest, his year-long quest to become WWE Undisputed Champion, and it culminates next year when WrestleMania is in Saudi Arabia. If they do it the way I would do it, Sami Zayn falls painstakingly short of winning the championship this coming Saturday. But because I said he won't, they'll probably put the belt on him and make him lose it again the following SmackDown to Jacob Fatu. And then you'll have Jacob Fatu defending against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and somehow Cody will weasel his way into making it into a triple threat. And Drew McIntyre be on the outside looking in as normal. Yeah. This is you gotta love WWE. Last but not least, Braun Breaker. Like, is he just waiting in the weeds on the raw side, on the uncooked side? Is there some type of angle that's about to come out? Because on Raw, he got his suspension lifted due to Paul Heyman's machinations and painting Adam Pearce as the provocateur, which he was technically. And Adam Pearce put all 4 members of the Division in the Royal Rumble. He apologized to Braun Breaker. And where's this leading? The look on Paul Heyman's face was a look of, yo, I asked for one thing and he gave us like 5 things without me even asking. Do we have them in our pocket? What's going on here? And I guess that's what was supposed to be read out of that. It took the announcers, specifically Corey Graves, into trying to paint that narrative of, oh no, Adam Pearce is actually doing this to be vindictive, to try to pit division against each other. Okay, whoopee. Now, Braun Breaker, he failed in his attempt back in January 5th against CM Punk. CM Punk right now he has an angle. I guess he has a feud. He has a rivalry right now with Finn Balor, because Finn Balor broke up or interrupted the main event, the title match between Punk and AJ, which makes sense because you can't have AJ going into a retirement match on a loss. So you knew something was going to happen. And they wasn't giving AJ the title. And everybody knew that Finn was going to have to come out. So it wasn't really a surprise, but okay, fine. They got away with that. Finn's not beating Punk for the championship. So Punk is probably going into WrestleMania as champion. Do they pull the trigger on Braun Breaker there? Does Seth Rollins return by WrestleMania? It seems to me, personally, that the play is Punk retains into WrestleMania. Braun Breaker goes on his quote-unquote journey to right a wrong and beat Punk at the Showcase of Immortals. And then at Night's End, right when Braun Breaker is celebrating and basking in his childhood dream coming true, you hear Seth Rollins' music come out, and he stands at the top of that ramp, and that's where they go from there, him winning his revenge. Am I fantasy booking? No, I'm booking logically. So that means none of this ever is going to happen. Why do I do this to myself? I don't know why. It's something in my genes. In those jeans, they mean to me. Look, 2 years ago, I'm going to end on this note. 2 years ago, we had this during WrestleMania season.
Fuck that! Clear, guys. Fuck that! You shut your mouth. Doesn't mean that this shit stops. The Rock doesn't give a fuck.
Now, we have nothing. Nothing even approaching that moment. All we have is...
He lied! Y'all niggas worship him! I know this lied!
All we have is Triple H lying. He lied. He cheats. He steals. He lied. He cheats. He steals.